Hi everyone, this is your Money Cat. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far. Today we're going to take a look at NIO. Thanks to a request made by Frank CN. NIO actually happens to be one of the stocks on my watch list for potential, so this worked out really well. Before we dive into NIO's chart for technical analysis, let's just take a quick moment to talk about NIO's storyline as well as recent news. As even though you trade based on technical analysis, I personally think knowing at least the storyline and what the company is about really helps you with overall analysis and deciding which direction the company is more likely headed towards. So starting with this article, NIO has been doing really well this year. It's been making monthly and quarterly records pretty much almost every month. So if we take a look in September, it's delivered close to 5,000 cars, which is 133% increase year over year. And looking at the quarter itself, in the third quarter, it's delivered slightly over 12,000 cars, which is 154% increase year over year. This is a graph showing NIO's car deliveries month by month this year. It did struggle a lot in the beginning of the year because of the pandemic, and we'll talk about this period a little bit later as it kind of forced NIO to do things that will influence their future decisions. But afterwards, as you can see, it's been making pretty much record months every month, as well as annual accumulation of vehicles delivered. It's been going up at a really great rate. NIO's got a few good things going on. NIO has partnered with Mobileye, which is a company dedicated to making autonomous driving possible. And Mobileye has partnered with many different car companies. Some of them are Ford, BMW, Volkswagen, and Nissan. So it's partnered with some of the biggest car companies, which just says a lot about Mobileye itself. And now this is what really separates NIO from its competitors. NIO's been pushing this idea of just swapping out batteries in like a station. And I believe so far they've actually made 1 million battery swaps in China, which is quite a lot. So their idea is making batteries more on a subscription basis, like almost like Netflix. So if you want to switch out your battery 6 times per month, that goes for about $142 a month. And if you're just happy charging at your house, then just to rent out the battery pack, it's $12 a month. And this whole thing of, going into a station, switching out battery for a new fresh pack, and then being able to go out on a basically full tank, it only takes 5 minutes, which is basically getting gas right now. Because of this subscription model, NIO was able to knock off about $10,000 off of their vehicle. I did a little calculation. So if you were to just rent out the battery pack and charge it at your home, then assuming that you drive this car for 20 years, which is a really long time. So I multiply that by $144 a year for renting out the battery pack. That equals to almost $3,000. So even after 20 years, you're coming out ahead. Now, if you were to choose the $142 per month option for the convenience of being able to switch out the battery pack, then you're going to break even at about little less than 6 years. But that's what you're paying for, basically the convenience of being able to swap out batteries in 5 minutes. To show you what this looks like, this is the battery swap station. It takes space of about 3 parking spots. So all you have to do is park into this stall. You can wait in the car, and at the bottom, all the machines go. It takes out the old battery and puts in the new battery. And the batteries are, stored in here. The old ones get recharged and the new ones go out. Then after 3 to 5 minutes, you're good to go with a fresh battery pack and you just drive on out. It's a pretty cool technology, so I'll link the video in the description as well as the card above. Make sure you check it out if you haven't. Now, to briefly talk about what happened in the beginning of this year, because of the pandemic, they were really struggling financially, so NIO actually had to get some money, and not just some money, a lot of money. So what happened was they basically got $1 billion from a state-owned, or basically government. But in order to get that money, they had to make a deal where they were to move their headquarters to the city of Hefei. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. As well as committing their core assets into this new subsidiary, NIO China. So currently, the government owns about 24% equity stake in NIO China, and the rest, the actual NIO company still has it. Some people view this as a negative news because now the government has some say in what NIO can do and cannot do. But I actually view this as a really positive thing, especially if NIO is able to continue its current growth. In sports, if the team is winning, there is no bickering, everybody is happy. Winning solves everything. But if the team is losing, then now individuals speak up. They're like, I'm not getting paid enough, I'm not getting enough touches or playing time. So as long as NIO is winning, I think this will be a really positive partnership, I guess you can say, for both parties. Especially because in China, government has more say and more power than in the United States. For example, China's been really pushing on this battery swap idea. Personally, while I think globally it's unrealistic because it requires every car company to make the construction of the battery or the battery pack the same. And in capitalistic society, this is just not going to happen. But within China, I actually see it as a possibility if the Chinese government really wants to push for it. And in that case, it would be a great boon for NIO. Furthermore, NIO is being backed by Tencent Holdings. So Tencent is just a powerhouse company in China. This would be like equivalent of a small company in US being backed by Amazon and getting full support from Amazon, except multiply that by like 10. It's hard to explain in words, but the power dynamics of the government or the powerful companies is much stronger in Asian countries than in the United States. The closest example I can think of right now is the fight between Apple and Epic Games for Fortnite. So even though I think this was a really stupid idea by Epic Games, they are allowed to, and they can, and they did take Apple to the court and let the court decide on its rulings. Now, while that is still possible in Asian countries, I'm mostly speaking on my experience and knowledge of Korea and China. Even though this is technically possible, like it's almost unimaginable for a small, I guess Epic Games is not small, but for a smaller, lesser powerful company to kind of rebel against a powerhouse like Tencent. So having a powerful backup ally in both Tencent as well as the government, I think this is a really powerful tool for NIO going forward. Having said that, if I were to choose just one EV company for long-term hold, hands down it'd still be Tesla. I view NIO more as an opportunity for short-term trade and even swing trades. I don't feel 100% confident or comfortable investing it for long-term. Long-term, I'm talking about like years. Let's move on to technical analysis for NIO. This is a 180-day, 4-hour time frame chart for NIO. What do you first notice? A very pretty staircase. I love these kind of pretty patterns where it fits perfectly. Zooming in a little bit, you can see that it follows the pattern like to the T almost. So from here, the bottom trend line, it shot up, and that was the new resistance. It was consolidating, following exactly that pattern, touching the bottom trend line here, then shooting up again. Then same kind of thing, supported by the bottom trend line here, and then shooting up again. And then same thing, the old resistance becomes new support, and now it's kind of channeling in here, consolidating again, and this is kind of what I'm envisioning right here. Kind of a sour memory for me. I saw this forming and happening, but I think at the time my trading money was involved in another stock, and I felt like I had a little bit of time to wait on NIO because there was so much more room to go in this little consolidation period. But it actually jumped up way earlier than I anticipated, so I couldn't catch that wave. So this time, I'm keeping a sharp eye and waiting for this to break out like way before it reaches this breaking point. It's also a good sign that since the all-time high here at $22.59, the MACD as well as RSI has been sort of decompressing, more so the MACD, and it's actually still projecting to head down for a little while longer. The price has been holding steady in this channel. So that's a really good sign, as whenever that MACD crossover happens, then that's when the stock may go up and break above the resistance, which I've drawn at 22, but it's really within this range. The support lines and trend lines and resistance lines, they're not meant to be exact. They're just within that area. I do have my reservations though. If you take a look from around end of March to the all-time high, it's increased about 600%. So now you're thinking, okay, does it still have more room to grow? I think yes, the company is young enough and it's still in that infancy phase where it's growing. So I definitely think there's more room to go. But this brings up another concern of mine. If you look at the previous jumps up to what was at the time all-time high, the first time from the bottom trend line, it increased about 100%, a little over 100%. Then the second time, it went up about 50%. And then this most recent run, it was about 25%. So each time, the gain was cut in half. And if this holds true, the next jump up will be only about 12-13%. If you also take a look at the RSI, first time the peak was at 94, 95, and then since then, the peaks have been much lower. It's at a decreasing peaks. The MACD first and second time were about even, but as you can see, this last time is much lower than the previous two times. So this makes me question, even though the stock is continually making all-time highs, is it losing steam? And given about 600% increase since late May, it is a possibility. These are the reasons why I'll likely have a slightly shorter leash when or if I enter a position with NIO. But as long as this grand staircase pattern continues to hold, I think whenever you get in, if you can get in at the lower ends here near the supports, then that's a great entry point for a possible big opportunity whenever and if the NIO stock does break to the upside. The current support level that I've drawn is at about $20.30. You can even probably say $20. But that was where the previous all-time high was at, or previous resistance. Old resistance become new support, and that's exactly what's been happening so far. So I think a good entry point can possibly be near that level at $20 or $20.30, somewhere there, and looking to break through the resistance of $22 into all-time high. It's kind of hard to project the target price since there is no history above $22.59, but given previous data, I'm looking at probably about 12% to 25% gain, although it's probably closer to the 12%. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. It really helps me a lot in making new videos. I wish you guys a good rest of your day and good luck prepping for next week in the stock market.